Trinitarian theology is Cappadocian. At Constantinople I, the church affirms the Cappadocian theology of the monarchia of the Father, of the relations of origin, of hypostatic properties that distinguish the persons, and that the Son is the eternally generated Son, and that his essence also is given to him by being generated from the Father. Everything that he has, the Son, his person and his nature, come from the Father, from whom he is eternally begotten. That's very important because Calvinists, to my knowledge, do not teach the monarchia of the Father. This is 101 in the doctrine of the Cappadocians. It's 101 at Constantinople I. In other words, this is so fundamental to Cappadocian theology and the Second Ecumenical Council. When I was a Calvinist, I didn't know this. I didn't read this stuff, right? I just assumed, well, I believe the Trinity. Yeah, sure. I believe Athanasius. Yeah, whatever. But this is crucial because not only is that the case, guess what the Cappadocians also include in that doctrine? The energies. Fundamental to St. Basil, read letter 234, is the doctrine of the energies. Basil says that the essence of God is unknown. The energies of God come down to us. So the energies doctrine, the Father as the monarchia, the sole cause and source in the Godhead. The distinction of the persons by their relation to the origin point of the Father and by hypostatic properties. The doctrine of the energies is all taught by the Cappadocians, and Constantinople I says that you have to interpret Constantinople I according to the Cappadocian teaching. So I know that Calvin said, well, I don't really care what men say. I don't care what men say. Okay, but you do care what men say because you claim to believe Nicaea, and Trinitarian theology didn't stop at Athanasius and Nicaea. Okay, the next council is the Trinitarian Council, and St. Gregory of Nyssa is the father par excellence in terms of theology of that council, as well as Basil and as well as Gregory Nazianzus, and they all have voluminous writings about the Trinity, and those voluminous writings, all three of them, teach a distinction between essence and energy. And they teach the Eastern model, the Orthodox model of the Trinity. They do not teach Filioque, for one. You can read Edward Soshinsky's book, Filioque, the classic text. Soshinsky says Cappadocians don't teach double eternal hypostatic source for the Spirit. So right away, we're starting to notice, wait a minute, there's different models going on here of the Trinity. And this is going to be important because I'm telling you, this is going to affect the doctrine of grace, the doctrine of anthropology, the doctrine of soteriology and ecclesiology and sacramentology that we have, and why this doctrine, this view, this tulip view is false. And in the fall, man didn't lose his natural powers and faculties. So we know, as I think Calvinists would agree with this, there's two types of things that exist. There's the uncreated and the created. Created things, however, have natures that God gives them. And you say, well, what Calvinist doesn't believe that created things have nature? Oh, actually, they don't. Because many Calvinists are nominalists, and they believe that things don't actually have natures that kind of subsist, or that they pass on, or that they have the power to, affect secondary causes. No, actually, it's just whatever God wills at any moment for that thing to be or to have. And God arbitrarily sort of can change it or do whatever he wants, right? That's theological voluntarism. That's almost occasionalism, right? And some Calvinists actually have affirmed Islamic type doctrines of occasionalism. For example, I think Jonathan, I'm going from memory, so if this is not correct, then don't spur out like you got me. But if I recall, Jonathan Edwards has an occasionalist view. He thinks that at every single moment, God creates and then destroys the world, and every second and recreates it. And Edwards believes that because he thinks that if you give creatures the ability to be secondary causes, then you've taken away from the glory of God. That's the Islamic argument and doctrine, by the way, if you didn't know that. And go listen to the debates of the Muslims. Go listen to my debate with Azra Rashid. That's exactly what it is. No, creatures don't have causation. They don't do things. They can't cause things Because if you say that, you're taking away from God's glory. Okay. So notice right away some interesting parallels between Islam and Calvinism. Creatures don't have secondary causal power. Well, if they do have secondary causal power, what does that mean? How do we explain that? That's where the doctrine of energies comes in. Okay. For example, St. John Damascus, you've heard, I think Sam was recently quoting St. John Damascus on several streams. If you go to book 3 of On the Orthodox Faith, go down to chapter 15. In that section, John Damascus will say there's a distinction that we make between nature, person, will, energy, and effect. All of those are distinct, really distinct, not nominally distinct, really distinct. Why? Because being made in the image of God, in the image of the Trinity, man has the ability to do things in the world and to cause things and to affect change. And man has his own created energy. Why is John Damascus arguing that? That's his section about Christology.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. If you like this clip on J. Dyer refuting Calvinism and T.u.l.i.p, go ahead and head on over to Sam's channel. He has the full video. And go ahead and subscribe and like his video over there. Thank you for coming over here. Like and subscribe. And go ahead and click the bell to get notified for future videos. All praise to the one true triune God. Thanks.